Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, host. Thank you so much for being part of the show. We're going to have a great show for you today. We are actually pretty darn full. Welcome aboard, Michael Rudnin. Welcome aboard, Paul Fleming. Bridge MCP. Welcome to Politics Done Right. Welcome, Paul Fleming Sr. as well. Let's see what else we got here. Paravet. Anybody else that I didn't call out but is in the house, go ahead and chime in. Folks, if you are on YouTube, please don't forget to give us that thumbs up. If you are on Facebook, please remember to give us that like as well. Anyhow, let's go ahead and get busy. Alistair Waters is in the house. Hey, Alistair, I'm checking out making a doodle for our local meetup, so keep that pressure on me to make sure I get here. Lee Grant says, hey, y'all, welcome aboard, Lee Grant. So we are all balanced today. We have our liberals or conservatives or in the middle and everything in the house. Anyhow, Michael Rensek, Berta Mondes here. I'm about to go just a little bit over, and I'm going to have to go a little bit under with it because I've got a whole lot of video for you that you guys are going to want. But he says here, this is some BS. This attack on reproductive rights is a travesty. The decision will have a devastating impact on already glaring disparities in this country. Roe versus Wade, that was on last week tonight with Oliver, covered this tweet. Thank you very much, Michael. He also says, Business Insider, along with the Supreme Court Friday's ruling on the overturn of Roe versus Wade, Justice Clarence Thomas said the court should also reconsider rulings that protect contraception access same. And you know what? I'm gonna leave that one alone because guess who covers that? Rudnin, you gave me a tape of two young ladies. You're responsible for that story, Mr. Rudnin. I am really, really happy because it was great seeing those two young, progressive women out there taking action. Those are the people that will have to replace us in all these progressive parties because they know what's going on. Third one from Rudnin says, Morning Express, Justice Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Barrett, these three judges appointed by Donald Trump are accused of having lied under oath, which they did. Since Friday, many Americans favorable to the right and to abortion accused three of these justices Supreme Court of lying under oath during the hearings by the Senate. And at the time of their appointment, according to the accusers, all three would have made believe that they would never consider Roe versus Wade, which they have just repealed. But we should have known that. Yes, they did, as all three claim under oath during the confirmation hearings that Roe versus Wade was settled law. Thus far, there has been no calls for their impeachment. Actually, there are calls for their impeachment, just not by the appropriate people. But Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has already come out on the record and says they should be impeached. Michael Rudnin says, Business Insider also, Gallup poll, a record 25% of Americans have confidence in the Supreme Court, down from 40% just 2 years ago. The Guardian Republican have hijacked the U.S. Supreme Court. It's time to expand it. Absolutely so. If Amy Coney Barrett serves to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she'll be on the Supreme Court till 2059. That's over 30 years, right? Yeah. We must reform the court now or risk it losing legitimacy forever. We need a court that represents the people, and there's no constitutional law saying there has to be 9 justices. It's okay to have 50 justices if necessary, one from each state. Roe versus Wade was such a horror that it's going to affect a 2022 midterm. I got to talk about the midterms. I was making a tape about it, but I ran out of time. I'm just going to tell you the top line. The top line is there has been in 4 days a reversal of 9 points. It went from the generic vote for Republicans was about 46, 43. Now it is 49, 40, I believe, something like that. So the generic poll has 43, 49, I believe. The generic poll now has reversed, more than reversed. So Democrats are now in the lead for likely holding on to the House and gaining in the Senate. But it's going to take work. It's going to take work, but I foresee gains in the House and gains in the Senate. Because right now, you mess with women, Especially you mess with suburban women. And these women are going to come out. 2018 should be probative. Politico. Republicans hailed the Supreme Court decision back in a high school football coach's right to pray in the midfield. Democrats warn of a slippery slope. We keep getting these outcomes. They are building the case for us. They're building the case about these people being some radical, extremist, fundamentalist, Taliban-like party. The Republican Party is nothing more than the American Taliban. So from now on, every time you say Republican Party, say American Taliban. My good friend, Marcus Molitses, owner of Daily Kos, wrote the book called The American Taliban. And a lot of people gave him hell about it. But he in that book pointed out there are so many similarities between the Republican Party and, yes, the Taliban. Let's get busy. Important message I missed this week. Texas Tribune on C-SPAN. Texas DPS director says Uvalde school police chief decided to place the lives of officers over children. I saw that. I can't continue that because I got a lot to do. Michael, thank you for bringing that up. Last one from Michael, Union of Concerned Scientists. The danger season when deadly heat, fire, hurricanes collide. As of now, summers at the UCS are no longer just summers. They're danger seasons. Danger season refers to months of hurricane and high temperatures that make climate impact collide and amplify each other. Scientists have been trying to get politicians to act regarding the immediate consequence of climate change and will highlight extreme events. Look, the filibuster, an unconstitutional item, prevents us from doing things. We have the know nothing, the do nothing, or the silly leaders of the Republican Party. To put it, I'm not calling my Republicans dumb, but the Republican Party leadership is dumb, because even if their people are misrepresenting things, it's because of what they've told their people via the Koch projects to misrepresent these. Bridge, I'm not sure what the issue is with Carl Cox. Maybe he put some strange links in there. I'm not sure. Please work it out with him, my dear. You are in charge, my dear Bridge. If it's something that it should be seen, please, you have full control of that. Macarones says, Egberto, I sent a couple of FB messages. I spoke to that already. Let's see what Alistair says. Hi, everyone. Hi, Alistair. Great seeing you, my dear, beautiful lady. We got Macarones says, so you did see my FB messages. Of course, I think if I'm not mistaken, I up-arrowed them, my friend. Alistair Waters says, I'm excited about the emergency session happening tomorrow at noon. I don't know what it is, though. I don't know what it is. Sheba Las Vegas says, hi there. I am present. Presente, says Sheba Las Vegas. Michael Ronan says, AOC call for their impeachment for lying under oath. Great. This is few hours old from The Guardian. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez calls for the Supreme Court judges to be impeached. The Congresswoman says Brett Kavanaugh and Neil Gorsuch lied under oath. She's right. Peggy Lopez says, hi all. On June 27, 1950, President Harry S. Truman ordered U.S. air and naval forces to South Korea to make war on North Korea. Today, the U.S. Supreme Court is making war on women. Yes, they are. BG says, Dem bashing is the most self-defeating pastime in progressive politics. Let me tell you something. There's nobody here that I know that Dem bash. They Dem establishment bash justifiably. And you'll see what I'm talking about in some of the pieces that I play. And if we don't do that, people will stay home, Brother BG. If we don't call out the ills in the Democratic Party now that's not doing their job. Let me give you an example. I was on a call. I am a precinct chair in the Democratic Party. I went to a meeting. And in this meeting, we are having a convention. And we're going to have a breakfast dinner. I don't know if I'm going to the convention or not after all. But, I am a chair. But here's the deal. They're having a breakfast. The breakfast starts at a ridiculous price. The only people that can afford to go to that breakfast are wealthy people, okay? Or people with means. The vast majority of the party that we want to come out and vote, we are doing absolutely nothing to encourage them to come out to Dallas, have fun, and be a part. Feel engaged. Have a humongous picnic for the Democrats. Let's have all the rank Democrats. Let's spend a few $100,000 on that. But no, we just want to take. You're going to see a message from these two young ladies that had something to say about the abortion issue. They're going to tell something that we have to call these things out this month, in June and July, so that we can recover in August and make sure everybody do what they need to do appropriately. Bridge MCP says footage of the U.S. Representative Mary Miller calling to the Supreme Court overruling of Roe versus Wade victory for white life has gone viral online. Miller, Republican for Illinois, made the remark during a speech at a rally in Mendon, Illinois, alongside former President Trump. The only reason I didn't copy that particular tape is I only had that clip. And one of the things that I pride myself on at Politics Done Right is I don't want to misrepresent anybody. Because when my daughter showed me, she said, Dad, look at what he's saying. She said something to the effect of to protect white life. Okay? And I said, when I heard her, I said, I wonder if that's I'm not saying that she's not a racist or anything. I don't know her. But to me, it was too close for her being able to say to protect the right to life as opposed to white life. So I didn't want to bring that in because I don't want to malign somebody unnecessarily. You can be a person who thinks you're right to lifer and all that good stuff. I hate your policy, but I don't hate you. So I was not going to bring that up, my dear Bridge, because I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. I don't think too many people other than Trump would want to go on a stage. Trump and some of his crazy sycophants would want to go up on the stage, even if they feel that way, to say that. So I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. Lee Grant says, shout out from the American Taliban. Lee, you're no American Taliban. Based on things that I know about you thus far, you're a good guy, just in the wrong party. I'm sorry to say that. BG says, Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden are working on the exact same legislative agenda. Biden has the most diverse cabinet in U.S. history as the most progressive agenda in U.S. history. BG, I am not discussing that at all. I'm not arguing that point. You're right, okay? But you know what? He also has a buddy-buddy relationship with Manchin, and he could work on cinema if they really wanted that. Sometimes somebody can be a progressive because they know they have somebody that's going to block them. Okay? That's all I'm saying, BG. But let's be clear, BG. We have a lot that we better start working on right now because we are not supporting the lower classes in our party, which is the bulk of our party. That's what it is, Brother BG. So please, I am not being negative with the party. I'm being negative to ensure that our people understand that there are people in the Democratic Party who understands that change has to be made to bring them in. Give them a reason to vote. If we sit back and say everything is okay in the Democratic Party, those people who are feeling the pain of not being able to participate, those people who are feeling the pain of all these things, they won't engage. But if they know that they have somebody in the Democratic Party that is saying, yeah, we know we have problems. We need to talk to those yahoos out there who cannot seem to get off of that high horse and come and meet the people. And that's all I want. I don't want to just bash. I want engagement by all, but we all have to engage on every level. Peggy Lopez says, Egberto, please put up your email address so I can cut and paste. Please put up your email address so I can cut and paste address. Sure, no problem, my dear lady. My address is info. Actually, let me give you two addresses. Info at I tell you what, let me give you Egberto. Egberto at egbertowillies.com and copy it to info at politics. Let me make sure I put it right. Info at politics. ¿Qué me pasa? ¿Qué es lo que me pasa? politicsdoneright.com. I couldn't. Let's see, politics. That looks like I spelled it correctly. All right, those are the addresses. Okay, I gave you two addresses. All right, spammer detected. Just take care of it, guys. You find a spammer, you guys take care of business. Both Rudnin and Bridge MCP can do all those things. Yes, she said she misspoke, and that's the thing about it. I wanted to give her the benefit because I didn't think that I honestly didn't think it was a real thing that she did. So that's the reason why I didn't make a copy of it. I didn't blow it up. I didn't talk about it. I just kind of smirked because I said, I was talking to another political activist with Indivisible, and I looked at him and I said, I guess it just may be a Freudian slip, but I don't think she would have said that just out there. So anyhow, new subject. Let's go. Let's see. Lee Grant, proud theocrat. I see. Don't listen to Lee Grant, Michael. He's a good guy. He's one of us. Paul Fleming says, first, they didn't renew the voting rights bill, and now women's right. Next, we will be property again. All we're asking for is the same rights as the white American male. Her white men, don't be afraid. We just want to exist as you do. Paul, that's a prescient message. And I think that's a prescient, and I'm glad that you actually directed the message to white men as well. To say, white men, stop thinking you have something to fear. We don't want anything that you don't want, or we don't want anything above what you want. We just don't, but unless what you want is to be able to dominate everybody else. If that is your goal, it ain't going to happen. We will not allow that to happen. But we don't want you to lose anything. We just want to have the same access to success, period. Alistair Waters says, January 6th committee announced a last-minute meeting earlier today. I saw that. I am kind of cute, wondering what it's going to be all about. Anyhow, continuing. Alo Hamed Damir Ojediji. Wow, that's a different one. Sorry, I don't get the name, but I can't, forgive me if I bastardize the name. What's wrong with white life? There's nothing wrong with white life, Lee Grant. I love that you have life, Lee. Come, Lee, brother Lee. Stop being silly. You know exactly what we're talking about, Brother Lee. Come on now. Stop it. You know exactly what we're talking about. So stop it. Paul Fleming says, what you need to know is that white male propaganda machine is over. What will make America great is one person, one vote, 50 justices representing each state, health care for all, free college for all. Then I kind of like that stuff about 50 Supreme Court justices. I kind of like that. But also I'd like one for the territories as well. All right, let's see what else. Oh, God. Anyway, guys, I'm going to stop reading for a second here, and I want to play my first piece here, and this one is by, I think it's by Mystal. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side. Mystal hits the nail on the head, something I've been preaching over and over and over again. First of all, I want to remind folks, in this country, we learned in high school, in middle school, that America has this stuff called separation of powers, which is true, the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive. And they try to make they define it as a co-equal branch of government. That was never, ever true. This country was always designed with a Supreme Court that is the ultimate power in the court, because to undo what a Supreme Court does is next to impossible. Anyhow, Mystal gets it. And let's go ahead, listen to him, and then we'll take it on the other side, because there's much more that we need to say on this issue.
You say there are things the federal government can do right now to protect these rights as well. What exactly can they do? What should they be doing?
Okay, so there's the first thing out of the box from the Biden administration needs to be providing abortion services at federal facilities, right? We can do this by leasing the federal facilities to people willing to provide abortions out of their own pocket. That should get around the Hyde Amendment. There are federal facilities in every state, including the states who are about to force women to give birth against their will. And that is the first thing out of the box from the Biden administration. Now, Biden indicated that he would make abortion medication available. He didn't really say how. He didn't really say when. Again, that's an easy fix. He should, at federal facilities, like if you can go to your CVS, you should be able to now go to your post office and get your medication, because, again, there are federal facilities in every state. So Biden has a lot of power of things that he can do, even within the Hyde Amendment, to say nothing of repealing the Hyde Amendment. Biden was a 3-decade supporter of the Hyde Amendment until he ran for president for the third time. Apparently now he doesn't support the Hyde Amendment, but in last year's budget, because the Hyde Amendment has to be re-upped every budget cycle, they tried to take the Hyde Amendment out. Republicans said no. Biden caved. So maybe this time for the 2023 budget, Biden could not cave and actually repeal the Hyde Amendment, which would further unleash federal monies to and abilities to provide the services that the Supreme Court has taken away. Now, obviously, executive branch protections are limited because the next election, who knows who's president, and those all go away. So yes, there needs to be codification of Roe by Congress, but let's not forget what makes people think that this radical conservative Supreme Court, which just thumbed its nose at 50 years of settled legal precedent, would allow a congressional law protecting Roe v. Wade. I'll tell you the answer. They won't. They will overturn that law before breakfast. So if you want to get serious about protecting women's rights and the rights of the LGBT community and the rights of non-believers, then you have to expand the Supreme Court. So when I hear Jen Psaki, the press secretary, say that Biden's against court expansion, and he has been clear about that, what I hear is Biden is not willing to do what is necessary to actually fix the problem. Because as long as you let these 6 conservative theocrats control the country, you will get decision after decision after decision rescinding the rights of everybody in this country who is not a straight, white, cis, hetero male or a Glock.
Now, it is important for us to understand when Republicans prepare for a cause, they are patient, but they are effective because they grind it over and over again. They don't sit back. I mean, they started this process 50 years ago, and every opportunity that they get, they take it. Let's remember, under President Obama, Merrick Garland should have been on that Supreme Court. Why did Merrick Garland not get there? Because when the Republicans have power, whether they have total power or partial power, they use all the power that they have to maximum gain. They didn't have the right to appoint a Supreme Court justice under Obama, but what they had the right to do was to ensure that Obama would never get a progressive majority or even a moderate majority on Congress, so they held the seat open. When President Trump came into office, President Trump, who did not win the majority of the American vote, he appointed somebody to replace Merrick Garland, which was the stolen Supreme Court seat, and he got 2 other seats to appoint. So 3 seats appointed by a president that did not win most of the Americans' vote. Secondly, we must remember that when Bush appointed his appointees, G.W. Bush that is, that he didn't win the popular vote. So we have a virtually illegitimate court coming down with policies that most Americans say they are against. If that isn't minority rule, something that we've discussed many times on Politics Done Right. Minority rule. In other words, what occurs? Congress passes a law and the people who are in the minority just say, nope, you can't have it. So we have a Senate that is run by a false majority that cannot execute until most of the minority say, okay, it's good for us also. And then we have a Supreme Court that was created, appointed by presidents who didn't win the majority of the vote. So here's the deal. And I hope you listen to what Elie Mystal had to say at the end. If you think just holding on to Congress, holding on to the Senate, and passing laws to codify that women have their rights, that we shouldn't have to codify this distance into our democracy, but to codify it, the only thing is going to happen is immediately as Congress passes laws, an illegitimate Supreme Court will simply say those laws are unconstitutional. It is the separation of powers that I spoke about in the beginning doesn't really exist in or the co-equal branches of government that we talk about does not really exist. A Congress goes ahead and pass laws. The president affirms it with signing that law, and six conservatives. Well, actually, we only need 5 conservatives on a 9-body Supreme Court can simply override what most people want. It has to be fixed. So when Elie Mystal says we also need to expand the Supreme Court to undo what has occurred with an illegitimate court that was appointed by less than the popular vote in America, that needs to be mitigated. Folks, we have a lot of work to do. Now, my problem now is I don't see the urgency in the Democratic Party to tell Americans this is what's happening. You are losing your country. You are losing your country, especially if you are not one of the dominant parts of this country. You are losing your country. You have to get up and fight. It is as if, well, that really can't happen. And every time we think something is not going to happen, they take it one step further. Death by 1,000 cuts. Death by 1,000 cuts. Folks, it is time to act. It is time to act. It is time to elect progressives who are willing to fight and remove neoliberals who are simply trying to do what's necessary to not beat the system. Folks, it is time for us to execute in this next election and elect people that won't tell you we can't do that. Democrats right now have the power to do much. They decide not to do it. We need to elect more, increase the numbers to give some spine to those who need it. Absolutely so, folks. Absolutely so. Anyway, welcome aboard, Bruce Pollard. Welcome, my brother. Peggy Lopez is thankful for what I just gave her. Eric says, question if energy is so important in crisis, why would Biden... let's see. Robert Davenport says, greetings to all progressives. Eric Hayes says, trying to understand this as Europe leans on... Why do you put... anyhow, let's go ahead. We covered this already, Eric. Paul Fleming. I'm not. If it were somebody else putting that out, I would read it. But we covered that with you, and we explained to you how silly it was. My God. Let's continue. Paul Fleming says, "Yep." Michael said, 50 Supreme Court justice. I think that one may be my idea, and I like that idea. I think it's a fair idea. All right, let's see what else we got here. Robert Davenport, welcome to it, my progressive buddy. Welcome aboard to Politics and Right. Peggy Lopez says, all the GOP wants is to return power to white men and remove power from everybody else. If the GOP succeeds, the power handed to the rest of us has not been real. You know, there's something that I've been talking about for a long time, and that is whenever you depend on somebody to give you power, right? And that is a problem. You have to take power. What we have to do as progressives, as American citizens, take power. What is ceded to you can be taken away. Go to the voting box and take power. That's how it's done. Paul Fleming says, I forgot to make all terrorize a state, giving them justice. I hear you, brother. E2247 says, Chris Hedges, June 26, fascists in or miss Supreme Court rulings. Herald consistency or so right. Persuasive Barry says, Dick Cheney made it worse with Rumsfeld as VP. Imagine this current administration makes Dick Cheney look like a moderate. It's amazing. Whoa, Robert Davenport, thank you so kindly for your kind support. We just got a great super chat from brother Davenport for 30. I'll put that up as soon as I can, brother Davenport. Thank you so kindly. We need all the support we can get to keep doing what we're doing. We couldn't do it without you guys at all. Paul Fleming says, I am making these statements because some of us seem to not be able to put themselves in either shoes when it comes to how each lifestyle is being saved. Now we'll come closer to greater understanding. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Davenport says, we must fight against American apartheid. Register and vote for democracy. I want to repeat that message in Brother Davenport's super chat. Davenport just gave us a $30 super chat. Appreciate it, sir. He says, it's an important message. We must fight against American apartheid. Register and vote for democracy. Understand what he means. American apartheid. Understand the concept. Continuing. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Expand the court? Absolutely so. Persuasive Barry says, Cuttis was 12 seats under Washington. It was 12 seats? I just learned something. I didn't realize it was 12 under Washington. Lee Grant says, there was a wave of anti-Christian, anti-Catholic violence in the country this weekend. The left says nothing, and you call me Taliban? Don't mix up violence with the left. That's not a fact. Let's see. Lee Grant, wave of anti-Christian. WTF are you talking about? Let me guess. You're about to link some conspiracy. That's what they do at Fox, but that's all right. At least Brother Grant is still with us. And Grant, please stay with us, okay? We love you. In as much as you get a lot of crazy stuff sent to you and sometimes you believe it, I really want to meet you when I have my meetup, okay? You got to come out with us. Come out and hang. All right, Peggy Lopez says, time to make it clear that to the Democrats that we will not support Biden against unless he does what he can to extend the court. I agree, Peggy. Even if it fails, he has shown his willingness. You know what? And for those who says, well, you don't have a choice. Actually, at this point where the Supreme Court is now, we have a choice because there's no law, even if the Congress stays Democratic, that won't be overturned by this fascist Supreme Court. Robert Davenport said, this is an American apartheid Supreme Court, proven by the facts in history. You're absolutely right. British MCP says, Lee, I haven't seen a thing. Where, when, link. All right, let's see. Para ver. Francis Landrum says the minority are the loudmouths, just like then. I was a teacher. All it took was a disruptive student to destroy the learning process. You kick them out, and then it's all right. You're right about that, Miss Landrum. Let's see what else we got here. Low audio. I hope the audio is better now. Audio is better. I guess it happens when I move my face away from the mic, so forgive me for that. Lee, 5 killed in Nigeria, and yes, CNS News. Wow, I got you, girl. I got you. Okay. I have another video to show here. I'm gonna jump to that video now. That is because I had my mouth in the wrong place, and it's a directional mic. Okay, this video here, everybody can say thank you to Redden because I am glad. I didn't see this interview, but I'm glad it showed me because this is the kind of people we want as leaders in the party, as leaders in America. Check this out. I could not have been more impressed with these two women that you are going to listen to here, and then listen to them. And then let's go ahead and take it on the other side, because these women, these young progressive women, get it.
Talk to me first about why it is you wanted to come out here today, because something that struck me was when you were speaking earlier and you mentioned your anger because you had received a text message from the Biden campaign. Why is that?
So I received a text message from Joe Biden's campaign yesterday saying that the Supreme Court had overturned Roe versus Wade and that it was my responsibility to then rush $15 to the Democratic National Party. And I thought that was absolutely outrageous because my rights should not be a fundraising point for them or a campaigning point. They have had multiple opportunities to codify Roe into law over the past 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and they haven't done it. And if they're going to keep campaigning on this point, they should actually do something about it.
What are you most worried about, Julia?
I'm most worried about what comes next, because Roe versus Wade was a precedent for Obergefell versus Hodges, Loving versus Virginia, Irving versus Texas, gay marriage, interracial marriage, and privacy in the bedroom. And those, as Clarence Thomas came out yesterday, they're going to be falling like dominoes.
You come from Texas. You're in Austin, Texas. There's a trigger law in place in Austin in 30 days.
Yes.
Abortion's going to be banned in your state.
Abortion has been banned at 6 weeks in my state since last September, which is an essential all-out ban because most women don't even realize they're pregnant before that point. And there are women in Texas who've already died and have already been arrested for having an abortion or a miscarriage because we can't really tell that.
It seems like you have obvious anger towards the Democratic Party because you feel as if they've missed chances to codify Roe up until this point, and then here we are. What does that mean for you when it comes to the midterm elections and getting more Democrats elected to move forward with trying to codify Roe?
Well, when it comes down to the primaries, which I think are coming up in the next couple months, it means that we need to get as many people to the polls as possible to vote for more progressive Democrats. We need to get the old white Democrats out of office and put in new, younger people who will actually defend the rights of women and people all over this country. And then when it comes to midterms, we need to make sure that we have those same people who voted for the progressive people in the primaries coming back to the midterms and voting again, and making sure that these more progressive Democrats get into office and can actually make the change that we need.
We need to be calling on the Biden administration administration, the Senate, the Congress, whoever can help us. We don't care who, we don't care how, but abortion needs to be ratified into U.S. law. It needs to be a fundamental right that all women in this country have. No sanctuary states, no some women have access, some people get funding to go. Yeah. Every single woman in this country needs her inalienable right to bodily autonomy, because right now we have less bodily autonomy as women than corpses do.
We have less bodily autonomy than corpses do. Yeah, you defame the corpse and you go to jail. Okay, anyhow, folks, let me just say, first of all, these women, I am so impressed with these two young ladies. But here is something. What disturbing. Oh, now that abortion is overturned, Roe versus Wade is overturned. Give us $15 for what? Were you in the communities trying to get these people elected, the progressive elected? No. Let me tell you something, okay? If you want change, give your money to local organizations that are doing the work. Give your monies to, this is going to be self-serving. Give your monies to local media that's trying to inform the appropriate people that go out there and vote and actually get things done. Not to these organizations that spend a ton of your monies, $10, $15, $20, $30,000 to some consulting firm that really doesn't know what's happening in the community. I tell you what, those two girls, those two young women are so smart in that they got it. She got upset for getting a request for sending $15 to a committee that should have done much more engagement in the community, which would have prevented the people elected that caused these Supreme Court judges to be appointed. We need people in the community, not in these mega establishment organizations that are accomplishing very, very little. You want to accomplish something? Grassroots. Invest in independent media. Invest in local organizations that are on the ground. The DSA, all these other organizations that are working their butts off, Indivisible, all these organizations that are saying, we are on the ground talking to the people that matter. They are the ones that need funding. They are the ones that actually go from $1 to the people. $1 to the people, because they actually effectuate change. Folks, those two young ladies, kudos to you. And I since I was calling out, by the way, Davenport, I got you on the screen, brother. Appreciate your super chat. Yeah, Davenport just did what I've been suggesting. Please remember, go ahead and support those of us that are really doing some work. Please also look at groups like indivisiblehouston.org. Indivisiblehouston.org is our local one. Indivisible.org is the national one. We are all working grassroots, talking directly to people, not staying on the top collecting a big check and doing, it is funny. I think I told some of you this story about after being with the coffee party, we spent over $100,000, consultants and advocates and these guys that are in Washington, D.C. And you know what? You know where most of a lot of the promotion and all of that came from? Yours truly and other yours trulies like me out there talking about it and bringing people in. That's where it happened, right? Grassroots. If we want to get the people out, you know who knows about grassroots? The Republicans. They, when we have our convention in Dallas, while there's no activity for families with a lot of children that are coming there that have no money, you know what I see here even in my town? When the Republicans get funding to have a lot of free stuff to bring people together and say, yeah, we're going to go beat them. And, here in the park, right here in the middle of Kingwood, they have all these people come out and they don't even say it's a political event. But they have, you know how you're going to vote based on how they're talking. And we don't do that. And Brother BG is telling me, don't dog on the Democratic Party. I am not dogging on the Republican Party. on the Democratic Party. I'm telling the Democratic Party, behave. Otherwise, I have to consider that you really don't want the lower classes to get what they want. You just want to kind of make believe that you want it for them so that things don't get too far to the right, but you don't want things to get too far to the left, because if you are the rich Democrats, you may not want to pay those taxes either. If I were a rich Democrat, I would want to pay a ton of taxes. I would be so happy to pay the ton of taxes. When I was making a lot of money doing software, I paid a ton of taxes, a ton. And once I remember an accountant was like, you can hide your money. You can do things like go ahead and buy this humongous insurance policy. And when you buy this policy and do other magical stuff, in effect, you'll be drawing money from the policy and it's non-taxable and all of that. And I told her, are you kidding me? Look how great this country's been. Why would I not want to pay my damn taxes? If I'm paying a lot of taxes, it means I'm making a lot of money. If I'm making a lot of money, it means I'm being served well. The selfishness that we teach. When Donald Trump said, I was so proud about not paying taxes. Oh, I was smart. You are smart for being selfish. You are smart for taking more from people than anything else. It's shameful. Anyway, let me do my ask, and then I'll be right back with another video, another important video. Check this out.
Politics done right depends on you to keep doing what we do. What do? We make sure to keep, number one, the internet seeded with blogs and information to counter the right and to present what progressives represent for the benefit of us all to everybody, so that it's not misread, misled by any other entity. We make sure and populate that internet with blogs, with videos, with all these other things to make sure that we are informed and to counter everything that you normally hear that are lying at the right. We also make sure to create articles in magazines, articles in newspapers all around the country to ensure, again, that our message gets out there. Last but not least, we also write books. As you see it, Class Warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom, How to Make America Utopia, are two of the many books that I've written on these issues. So please support us in one of many ways. Numero uno, you can support us at PayPal, either one time or monthly. Go to politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. You can support us on Patreon. That is politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Patreon is spelled Patreon. You can support us by becoming a part of our YouTube channel, going to politicsdoneright.com/YouTube, or you can support us in many other forms that you can find at politicsdoneright.com/support. Be sure to visit our store, politicsdoneright.com/store, and get our books at politicsdoneright.com/books. Politics Done Right depends on you.
Absolutely so, folks. And don't forget to get our books, please. politicsdoneright.com/books. Folks, we really need your support. I'm still waiting for approval for my GoFundMe for our trip to Pittsburgh, where we are going to be on Radio Row talking to the politicians and activists out there. I had it out last night, and apparently I put something in there that you can't put in a GoFundMe. I didn't know that. I think I said something like, hey, I'll give you guys some special perks or something like that. And they said, on GoFundMe, you can't put a word like that in there. So they cut it off, and they said, send it in with the change in word in. And we'll go ahead and give you once we approve it again, we'll send the link out. So I will go ahead and do the link. Eric, I'm going to do a doodle. I've been so darn busy, but I want to meet all of you guys. I want to meet Eric. I want to meet Alistair. I want to meet Bruce. All of us going to meet. Lou, everybody. See if we get together. So I'm going to put the doodle together pretty soon, okay? We'll probably meet at the Starbucks in the front of Kingwood. There are two different ones in the front of Kingwood, one on North Park and one on Kingwood Drive. I think the one on Kingwood Drive is probably more accessible to all. So that is probably what we'll do, but we'll see. Anyhow, let's see what else I got to say here. Yeah, so please go ahead and find some particular way. No, we'll do it on the inside though, Eric, not on the outside. We'll do it on the inside. But if there's a better place that you guys think of, just let me know. I mean, remember, this is a democracy, man. If folks say, hey, Berto, we don't want to meet at those darn Starbucks, we want to meet somewhere else, then that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. All right. Next video is coming up. I want you to see this from our brother at the RNC. Check this out. My dear establishment Democrats, I know I don't have to tell this to progressives. But to my dear establishment Democrats, please heed everything that Michael Steele has to say here. It is very important. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
To what extent politically Democrats can gain some ground and solidify a hold on the House in November.
Senator Chris Murphy tweeted something to the effect that if Republicans are able to retake the House and the Senate, that they will pass a federal ban on abortion. Do you believe that would happen, Michael?
Yes, without doubt or hesitation. They'll set the marker. They'll set the marker, and if they have the House and the Senate,
will they overturn the filibuster to do it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because it's in their base's interest to do so. That's the difference politically between the two parties. Republicans go, oh, yeah, the Constitution and the filibuster, all the traditions, the sanctity of the Senate. They don't give a rat's patootie about that when it's the bottom line in politics and power. And the Democrats often succumb to that feeling, that good feeling about, democracy and all of that. And that's good. It's important. But the politics is what drives a lot of what's happening right now in Washington, and particularly in the Senate. And they've not shown the same level of willingness to do something. So absolutely, a national ban on abortion will be one of the first pieces of legislation, probably next to impeaching Joe Biden.
And you know what? We all know that. We honestly all know that. When the Republicans needed to get their people into the Supreme Court, they threw all the rules that they supported out the door to get what their base wanted done. They got it done. Why is it that we don't act the same? The Republican Party of yesteryear is not the Republican Party of today. Today, it's squarely about power. And I wouldn't care if it was just about power, if in the power they attained, they took care of humanity. They took care of their constituency. They took care of people. But we know that's not the case. We know that they care nothing but for a few as they hoodwink others into believing they're on their sides. And what do they use as excuse when even their constituencies start to suffer? They start to say, oh, it's because of them. Those others are the reasons you are in dire straits. It is time, folks, for us to start playing this game appropriately. Play the game to win. Show people you are a winner and watch them come to support you. Exactamente eso. Let's see, we are at 50. Before I go back to the question and answers, I'm going to run to the last video. It's only about 3 minutes and change. Check it out, but it's an important one. Check it out, and then we'll come back on the other side. Activist Danielle Moodie. Well, she's much more than an activist. She's a journalist. She's a host of several programs. Look, she hits the nail on the head, and Democrats would do well listening to this message. They should know this. Check this out. Let's take it on the other side.
Danielle, what does standing up look like?
I mean, standing up looks like fighting the way that Republicans fight. You see, except we have truth, right, and facts and the people on our side. So we don't have to lie. We don't have to steal. We don't have to act like criminals in the way that Trumpism has consumed the Republican Party. And so standing up and fighting looks like getting Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema in line and saying that we will run candidates against you. It looks like creating an environment where if you're not in lockstep with the Democratic Party and democracy, we're going to run candidates against you. Because to Susan's point, Mitch McConnell seems to do just fine, right, with the same rules and the same responsibilities that Chuck Schumer has. But all of a sudden, when Democrats are in power, they're so timid, so feckless, so tepid. So I'm saying that now is the time to stop pretending that these are people that you can compromise and work with. They are overturning our democracy, one right, one case at a time. Susan is putting us on notice. The Supreme Court put us on notice multiple times this week. It is time for Democrats to stop pretending that voting alone is going to save us, because it is not when they are obstructing every single point of our ability to do so.
What I find amazing, first of all, she is absolutely right. that Republicans can achieve more in the minority than Democrats can in the majority speaks about, again, and she lays it out. If McConnell can accomplish what he can under the same rules, then why is it that Schumer and Democrats don't do what's necessary to get what needs to be done? People are getting fed up. The fact of the matter is simple. If Democrats stop coming through, I'll tell you bluntly, people like to follow strength. Nobody likes what Republicans have to offer. But you know what's the one thing they offer? The semblance of strength that we are going to come through for you. So even if they're not doing the best thing, the mere fact that you are sitting next to somebody that's strong, you feel like you have somebody that has your back. Right now, too many feel like Democrats are in power and they don't have my back. Well, the Republicans, if they get in power, maybe they don't have the back my back the way I want it, but they'll do what they say they go out to do. Look, the bottom line is this. Those folks on the right are evil. Those folks on the right are wrong. Those folks on the right are criminal, just as Miss Moodie had to say. But Democrats have truth and what the people really want. Get the job done. And when we talk about Sinema and Manchin, they really have no place to go. Even if they were to jump ship, MAGA doesn't want them. So let's be clear here. If Democrats don't perform, democracy, done. And I think that's what we have to realize. You know, that's where we're at now. If Democrats don't perform, democracy is over. And what's sad is there are a lot of rich Democrats that none of that matters because they're rich, right? It is what I explained earlier that's even happening here in the Democratic convention here in Texas that has many people upset. I was on a meeting with a whole lot of chairs yesterday, and people are upset. What's there for the rank and file Democratic voter, which most of them fall below the 80% in America, which means they don't have much. That's who my fight's for. You know, I have a lot of rich friends. I tell them straight up, my fight is not for you. You're fine. You're doing just fine. And and remember, the just fine that you are doing is on the back of others. I told a very dear friend yesterday, and I know to some extent she's probably pissed at me for saying that, right? But she's going to get a very humongously large bonus. She knows it. And my answer to that wasn't to say, oh, congratulations to you, or say something like, hey, why don't you just completely fund other things? Because I would expect that from people who are making a ton of money that is really undeserved, right? You're getting it, but it's undeserved. And I explained, I said, you see that woman that is going to work, taking her kids to school, going to the grocery store, but now in order for you to get that bonus, for no oil shortages, instead of paying $2.50 for a gallon of gas, she's paying $5 or $6. And because she's paying so much, you are going to go home. Just a few of you, are going to go home with a humongous bonus. How to live with yourself on that, you have to do a lot of good to say, well, look, this is how the system is, but for my windfall, I am going to do good, not just for my family at all, but I'm going to do good for the world, because the people that got me this windfall, and yes, I'm going to keep a piece of it, but the people that got me this windfall, many of them had to suffer for it. So your windfall is the suffering of many. And what we have been able to abstract is find a reason to say, well, I can't do anything about it. We all can do something about it. We all can do something about evil in this system. You just have to want to do it. You just have to have the moral compass in you. I mean, I was making a killing, folks. I lost it all doing this, but I just couldn't do it anymore. You know, I said that contract to Boeing, that contract to Exxon or whatever, and noticing that, oh, wow, Exxon not paying for that. Ultimately, it is the guy down below. The people that have zero price and power, and the people that are not running things. And I don't know, the way I grew up, you know, my father was a regular dude. But when you listen to the way he talks and the compassion that he had for other people, I can see exactly why, even when I was in the bastion of capitalism, why I was never really, even as being a capitalist, I was never a capitalist. Because if you would hear the things that he said and the way he thought about money and the way he gave things away, he liked his money, but the way he gave that stuff away, and you know, every now and then I sit down and I think, why am I so stupid? Why didn't I take that money from Y2K? Why didn't I keep having those licenses at ridiculous prices? I'm such a fool. And why am I now having to, like, okay, guys, please remember to support Politics Done Right. Go to politicsdoneright.com/support. Or click the join button on YouTube. Why am I nickel and diming myself when I could have just taken it? And I'm not, when I say why am I swear to you, I'm not saying me only. I'm talking about every single activist that I work with on the streets of Houston. When I see the intellect of folks like Nisha Randall and Daniel Cohen, these are activists that I work with. And they don't go for the big corporate job, even though they're qualified for the big corporate job or being able to do that, but they just look at things and say, we need to make a better world. We need to make it better. I'm honored to work with these kind of folk. There's an interview that I did with a woman who had an abortion. She has cancer. As sick as she was, she went out to that rally. She went out to that rally to bring the truth to people about the real case of abortion. You know, it is amazing. It is amazing. So, I mean, look, folks, we are doing the right thing. Those of you, and all of you that are listening to, even my conservatives here that are giving me a hard time, the mere fact that you are here every day, and I mean this, the mere fact you are here every day, whether you're on the left or the right, every day, given the way the things that I say, and sometimes I hit you up, it means a lot. It means that you get it. Even sometimes when you don't want to get it, it means that you get it. My name is Egberto Willie. Support us, politicsdoneright.com/support. Quickest one, politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out. Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.